All right, guys, it is barbecue weather, as you all know. I will barbecue anything. Steaks, burgers, dogs, chicken, buffalo, you name it, I will cook it. What I hate, though, is cleaning the grill. I never remember to clean it after we've eaten all the food, so the next time I go out to grill, I gotta scrub like a madman before I can get to my cooking. It's been so frustrating, but I'm using this stuff right now called Bullshot Barbecue. It's a foaming grill cleaner, lets me wipe away baked-on food and oil, caked-on grease really fast. All I gotta do is shake it, spray it, wipe off the gunk. Plus, I can use it on my smoker, my griddle, stovetop, pans, metal. I tried it on my cast iron skillet, and it's a dream. Bullshot makes professional cleaners for carpets and pet stains too, but barbecue's my wheelhouse, and it's killing it for me. Try it out because I think you'll love this thing as much as I do. And now for a limited time, get up to 20% off Bullshot and free shipping when you text GRILL to 64,000. That's GRILL to 64,000 for up to 20% off and free shipping. Text GRILL to 64,000.
Your daily dose of sports talk is here. Highlights, interviews, and analysis. From the entertainment capital of the world, Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does, and good to have you with us on this Wednesday edition of the show, all across the United States and Canada, on over 270 affiliates. Wherever you may be watching on YouTube, anywhere in the world, you could be listening to us on the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast as well. We appreciate you being here. A lot to do over the next 60 minutes. Our usual Wednesday suspects are here. David Aardsma talks baseball later on as Sports Wrap goes inside baseball with the former big league reliever and closer. We'll also chat with Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, get into it with him on the draft. Round 1 held on Tuesday night. Round 2 will be held on Wednesday, and also get some extra reaction now from around the league as to what's being said with regard to some of the big trades that we've seen and we could potentially still see in this offseason. That is coming up as well. But I don't want to waste any time because I got something I want to talk about today in the big story, which is presented by the Daily Wrap. If you have not done so yet, scan the QR code below and subscribe to the Daily Wrap. It is our Sports Wrap with Jason Page daily newsletter. It's available early each afternoon. It features whatever we're talking about as the top story of the day. It's in written form, easy to digest. Go and subscribe right now to the Daily Wrap. Again, available over on Substack. All you got to do is scan the QR code right there or go to sportswrap.tv, and you could also subscribe there. I don't often do this. This is not something I would typically do. Ariel Helwani has been a guest on this show, and he is somebody that I have respected for a long time because of his independent nature for a long time. Less so today because he works for certain brands, and you've got to capitulate to those brands. I get it. I've worked for ESPN, Sirius. I've worked for flagship stations of NBA teams. There's just certain lines you have to walk and certain tightropes you have to walk. So I take less umbrage with some of the sucking up to the different brands he might do in those roles, because we've all had to do it. But in general, I've always had a high opinion of Ariel Helwani. And that officially changed for me yesterday. And it's rare that I will call out somebody that I've had on the show and have had so much respect for. Stephen A. Smith is a buffoon. It's easy to call that out. That's like Club and Baby Seals. You know, the Skip Baylesses of the world. And we could go on and on about different people we've called out on this show, because we don't have any fear. Because I don't have anybody I need to suck up to at this stage of my life. I've been doing this for 30 years. I lost all respect for Ariel Helwani on Tuesday. And that actually pains me to say. I don't say this with any degree of joy or happiness, because of what you're looking at on the screen. We have a responsibility as sports talk hosts, sports media members. We have a responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, to do right by our audience, to do right by our platform, by those, in his case, that employ him, which in this case is Yahoo. who he does this show in concert with, we have a responsibility to do right by the people that watch our show. And maybe he thinks that putting Josh Hokit, platforming a guy like Josh Hokit, who, if you don't know, Josh Hokit is the guy that went on the UFC 250 event at the White House, the Freedom 250, and said something deplorable about Michelle Obama, the former First Lady of the United States. This isn't even a political thing. Whether you support Democrats or Republicans, everybody other than the White House has stood up and said what he said was awful. Even Dana White, who's Mr. Free Speech guy, even he stood up and said that was deplorable. But Ariel Helwani thought it best to take that guy and put him on his show yesterday for a lengthy conversation in which, to his credit, he did ask him about why he said what he said. And the answer that Josh Hokit gave, by the way, which was just about the dumbest piece of crap I've ever heard in my life, where he essentially says, oh no, I was trying to be complimentary. You know, it's about free speech. I was trying to be complimentary, and he went into this long-winded, dumb excuse. Which at that point, if I was Ariel Helwani, either A, I would jump down his throat, or say, this is a waste of time, we're ending this conversation. But he didn't have the integrity to do that. Instead, he carried the interview on for much longer than he should have. And frankly, 1 minute was longer than that conversation should have taken, because it never should have happened. And Ariel Helwani owes an explanation to us in the media as to why he decided to platform somebody as hideous as Josh Hokit. This isn't the first dumb thing he's ever said, being the Obama comments. You can go and look at his history of saying stupid things. But when we allow oxygen to things like this, all we're doing is dumbing down what we do more. And you're casting a negative light on all of us. And I don't offer to be some high and mighty, holier than thou guy. I've done things in my career that I regret. Nothing as bad as this. This guy would, if he, and I'll tell you the way it works in the industry. A lot of times, PR people will offer somebody to you, or you go and you might have a prior relationship with Josh Hokit. If you're somebody like Ariel Helwani and you decide to go get him, in either scenario, it shouldn't have happened. If Josh Hokit was doing an apology tour and Ariel Helwani was a stop on that tour, that's different. I had Tom Brenneman on the show, who got caught saying something into a hot mic that he seriously regretted about the LGBTQ plus community. He paid the price, he apologized, he was contrite. Whether you believe the apology or not, that's on you. But I gave him an opportunity to come on this show before he started his new role at the CW, doing play-by-play again. I gave him that opportunity. Josh Hokit isn't deserving of the platform he got yesterday from Ariel Helwani, whose show goes out to millions of people. And I'm here to say, we've got to do better in the media than that. And Ariel Helwani has to do better than that. And Yahoo Sports has to do better than that. That's the big story. We're coming back. Welcome back to the show. Now that I've had my say in the big story, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about in this segment. Most days it does. Today, I was a bit self-indulgent. And you know what, Kurt Helin? Once in a while, I've earned the right to be self-indulgent, haven't I? I mean, it's my friggin' show. If I can't be self-indulgent once in a blue moon, when can I be?
I might challenge the once in a blue moon theory, but you're allowed. You're allowed.
What does that mean? I think there's not other than the occasional Knicks question, which, by the way, it turns out I was right to be asking all this time because they finally won a championship. And apparently they drive ratings. I mean, this was the most watched NBA final in a zillion years.
That was interesting. And traffic-wise, just at our site, it's been interesting in the past, and it's still true to a degree, that stuff on free agency and trades and all the machinations of player movement would draw more views than finals coverage. And this was the year it really didn't.
So we have a draft to talk about. We've got the big draft board up there from the first round. What stood out to you, surprised you? You said the draft starts at 5 with the Clippers, because we kind of all had a feeling of what was going to happen in those first 4 picks. Dybonsa goes number 1. Darren Peterson goes number 2. Cameron Boozer, number 3 to Memphis, and then the Bulls go with Caleb Wilson at 4. What kind of surprised you?
Honestly, this was a pretty unsurprising round. It was pretty chalk, really.
Yeah.
Wagler to the Clippers had long been rumored in case they didn't move. Who would Brooklyn take? And I think Mikal Brown, by the way, that's one of my favorite picks of the first round. I'm higher on him than most, but I think his game is built to thrive in the space and pace NBA. Like, I think he's going to be a very good point guard. That allows Sacramento to get not only the guy they wanted in Darius Acuff Jr., but the guy they needed, right? That is first off, a boring team to watch. Second of all, a fan base that's such starved and a good, loyal fan base. And now you bring in Acuff, who is, for people who haven't watched him, and I hate making I'm uncomfortable with player comps in a lot of ways, but the high-end comp for him is Damian Lillard. Like, he is that kind of dynamic offensive force where you want to watch him. You used to tune into Portland games because, man, I got to watch some Damian Lillard. Like, he's so entertaining. Acuff can be that kind of guy, and that fan base needs it in Sacramento. So it worked out kind of the way it was supposed to, but there weren't any. I mean, what's the most exciting trade? That Memphis moved back twice to get 5 second-round picks. Woohoo! It's a good bit of work, frankly, by them. But like, it wasn't a draft. I guess everybody look in the wake of the storm that was the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade and all the drama around Jaylen Brown. The draft itself was pretty mellow.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. That was the sense I got from a lot of people and a lot of the social media reaction, which, again, we always have to be careful to take with a grain of salt because the loudest voices don't necessarily equal the most right voices when it comes to it. Was there anybody that made it into the first round that you didn't anticipate, some that maybe some team reached for that maybe could have been a day 2 pick?
Sergio Delara, the Spanish point guard, who went towards the end of the first round. It was part of a trade, and now off the top of my head, I'm going to say, did he land with the Knicks? That might be the case.
Yeah.
That was a guy in our mocks and pretty much every mock had in the second round, but it wasn't like he pulled them from the 40s or 50s. He was 35, 36, 37. People just weren't sure. Look, he's been the best young player in the Spanish league for ABC League for a couple of years. And that's generally a good sign. That is the outside of anything in North America, that is the best league in the world. That is the Spanish league is a high level. That's the one Luka Doncic absolutely dominated, was an MVP at 18. And his game translated pretty well. There's questions about whether this guy's will, but it was a little surprising to see him go, but nothing, again, he went 5 to 6 earlier than expected. The other guy who really fell, and kind of people knew it, was Koa Pete. I mean, Koa Pete was a top 10 high school prospect coming into this class, who fell to 30. And frankly, you're taking him at 30 on hey, maybe this works out kind of pick. Like there's the talent is there. Can we develop it kind of pick, as opposed to expecting anything from him. He's now kind of a flyer, which is what you should be doing at 30, but it speaks about how far he's fallen.
I'll be a little partial to UConn only because I'm from the state of Connecticut. Caravan to what? The Cavaliers, and then
they traded it. Yeah. And it was part of one of the deals. I'm going to go blank off the top of my head.
And then Terrace Reed. The Spurs always, if there's one thing about San Antonio that I love, it is, and I talk about this all the time, putting players in the best possible position to succeed. They did it with Castle. They did it with Ron Harper's kid, Dylan Harper, whose name escaped me for a second, even though I think he's immensely talented. I apologize, Dylan. Don't hold it against me. They always draft guys and put them in the best positions to succeed. And I don't know if Terrace Reed is going to succeed in the league because he's kind of that undersized big.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like Jeff Adrian from UConn when he came into the league, was sort of that guy. I think he can be, but if there's a spot where he's going to be successful, Terrace Reed can be successful in San Antonio.
They drafted 2 bigs in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Both, look, they're looking for the backup for Wemby. It is one of the clear needs, especially we saw through the playoffs, was Luke Cornett, who was frankly very good for them through the regular season, and even the first couple rounds of the playoffs became unplayable at one point.
Yeah.
They're looking for, whether it's Reed or the other big they drafted, who's, again, I'm not looking at my list, so now I'm not.
Yeah, it's all right.
Do have to make it. The other interesting, by the way, just along that same arc, the first pick for Oklahoma City is Ade Mara, the 7'3" physical big man from Michigan.
Yep.
Clearly, look, we got Chet. They're expected to re-sign Isaiah Hartenstein. After the way he played Wemby in the playoffs, you've got to bring him back. We're adding a body. We realize where the wall is, and we're going to go get another guy to throw at Wemby.
Yeah. And Caravan, by the way, landed with the Kings. I said Cavaliers. Ultimately, he wound up with the Kings. And that's, again, give me born winners. Kurt Helin's hanging out with us. We'll do one more segment on the NBA with him. Some follow-ups on some of the big trade news that took place on Monday as well, as Sports Wrap continues. Welcome back. Hanging out with Kurt Helin. It's our traditional NBA weekly spot with Kurt Helin.
We're nothing if not traditional men.
Wednesdays. Not if you follow my social media these days. By the way, it's raining in Las Vegas as of the time we're actually putting the show together. And I almost want to just go run around outside in it because it's so rare that it rains in Las Vegas.
Like one of those humid summer rains?
I don't know, but it's actually rain. Like, I'm thrilled. Like, I want to just, when we finish this conversation, I'm going to run out and I'm just going to run around in the rain because I've never had a chance. It's like never rains out here. Just thought I'd throw that in for people around the country who are like probably under a deluge right now and hating it. When you don't get rain, you really miss it. So I wanted to sort of get back to, there was all this trade activity on Monday. Between Randall, Antetokounmpo, not in that order in terms of importance, and then what it all means for Jaylen Brown and some of the other things sort of moving pieces here as the offseason continues. In your conversations since we spoke 24 hours ago, what seems to be the driving theme behind what you're hearing, as far as those deals are concerned?
The Antetokounmpo one was ultimately how they used Boston's entry into this, and serious entry into this, but Boston would only go so far. They would put picks and Brown in, but if you wanted Hugo Gonzalez or Shireman or some of the young guys, that was off limits. And those are the kind of players that, look, Jaylen Brown's the best player offered to them, but he's 29. He's at his peak. They were legitimately, I think, reasonably concerned in Milwaukee he wouldn't stay. So they went with the Miami thing, but they were able to leverage Miami and get Yakashevitz into, like, get another young player in there. Maybe that second round pick comes in or something as part of it. So that worked out for them. He lands where he wants to. The other thing that's really become a thing, and we discussed it briefly, and I kind of wasn't sure it would go this way, but it absolutely has. They're listening to Jaylen Brown. Like, they're not actively shopping him maybe, but if you call and say, hey, I want to talk about Jaylen Brown to Boston right now, you can have that conversation, and that's going to get interesting, that dynamic. And look, we talked about it, and I think you were right. Yeah, I think you were right. Like, ultimately, he's now like, if you don't want me, then let's figure this out. And part of it is maybe he does like the idea of, as his postseason comments suggested, he likes the idea of being the man rather than one of the two men. Like, you're right. Like, would he be okay being, even if the team isn't as good, but he is the focal point of it? Is that something he wants right now? Because frankly, if he gets traded, that's most likely where he's going.
Is that an indictment? Is that an indictment on him? Because I know the initial response, my initial thought when I heard you say that is it's an indictment on him. But then I'm like, is it, or is it just human nature?
It's also, he's won. He has been to the finals. He has a ring. He has a finals MVP trophy somewhere gathering dust in his home. So now he wants the other thing. And that's a different order than it normally goes, right? For most stars, it's you end up on a bad team. You're the guy with the ball. You're the guy putting up these huge numbers. I'm going to have to adapt my game. Even Jordan had to adapt his game to win, right? Like had to start getting Scottie Pippen involved as much as he could, making the odd pass to Steve Kerr or John Paxson in famous moments. But he had to adjust who he was. That's more the pattern. And Brown is kind of the reverse of that. He's got the wins. He's had the big success. Now, does he want to be, it's interesting to see where he goes. Because if he goes back home to Atlanta, he's the best player, but that's a really good, deep roster. They picked up an interesting player for them in Flemings in the draft, by the way, at the point. It's a really good defensive team. It's like he fit in, but it's a little different. Or does he go somewhere where he's, if he goes to Portland, I guess Denny Advia is your other star, but it's the Jaylen Brown show. And is that what he's looking for? I don't think he's looking for Portland specifically, but is he looking for that kind of moment?
Do you think he'll have a say in where he goes?
That's the problem. And part of the problem is trading him. He's got 3 years guaranteed at 183 million or something like that left on his deal. He's making 57 and change next year. That's hard to move in an apron world. So now that's an issue. But because of that, he has no leverage. This isn't Giannis where he's like, I'm only going to go to these 2 or 3 places because I can sign an extension. Say I'm not going to sign an extension. That is not the case here. If you get him, you can get him for 3 years.
And to go back to the draft for a second, day 2, we think about guys like Jalen Brunson a lot more now because he was sort of a day 2.
This is day 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. So now it feels like day 2 takes on a different significance. Somebody loaded up. I'm trying to remember who made a trade yesterday and has a bunch. Somebody's got like
Memphis picked up a few. New York picked up 1 or 2. People.
I think the Knicks have like 5 second-round picks, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And you could obviously get value and get opportunities. And part of the reason the Knicks moved out of the first round was they didn't want to have to pay out, $3.2 million because they're trying to keep Landry Shamet, trying to keep Mitchell Robinson, trying to keep this entire team intact the best way they can. And they're not going to go to the next apron. So Jim Dolan says. So what are you looking at when it comes to day 2, Kurt?
First off, what James Dolan said publicly is what literally every owner has said privately and occasionally publicly, which is that second apron is a de facto hard cap. And it's not just him that won't go into it. I think you're going to see, though, in this apron era, this is a good time. If you get multiple second round picks, if you've got 5 or 4, you can take some flyers on some guys. There's some guys at the top who probably could have been first rounders in your first 10. And you're probably, if you get one of those guys, you're probably thinking I can sign him, but maybe a little cheaper than a standard rookie deal. But you can go through there and try to find the Austin Reeves of the world. Now he went undrafted, but you can try to find and in a couple of years we could develop this into a guy and we can do it a little bit more cheaply. For teams trying to do that, this is a chance to go take a couple of flyers on guys and see if you can make it work.
It's going to be fascinating to watch. I don't think the NBA needs to do 2 days for a draft, by the way. Just my take. Not trying to crush the league, but we don't need...
It's a TV thing.
Yeah.
My sleep pattern probably enjoys it a little more, but I don't...
I don't think we need 2 days.
I think you could have, but this was... I mean, it's obviously a television thing.
Yeah,
so.
no, I know. It just drives me bonkers. Kurt Helin, check out his work, especially his post-draft analysis over at NBC.
We got grades up, baby.
NBCSports.com, pro basketball talk. Appreciate you, my friend. We'll talk next week.
Take care.
Welcome back to the show. I realized the lighting in here in the first few segments today was very dungeon-like. So we fixed the lighting a little for this guy. I don't know why. Sometimes I'm telling you, these cameras, Aardsma, they do, because you have a similar camera to mine. I won't name it, but we have similar cameras. They do what they want to do sometimes. They just do what they want to do. They got minds of their own. I came on today, I looked like I was in a dungeon. It was so dark. But it took me a while to make the adjustment, but we have made the adjustment. So I apologize to anybody out there who was watching who's like, is it my TV? No, it's not your TV. It's the dopey host who runs his own camera. So my apologies. If it's a Wednesday on Sports Wrap, it means we're going inside baseball with the one and only David Aardsma, former big league reliever and closer who hangs out with us on the program. So...
Send us your Christmas gifts. We will wrap it for you.
Yes.
Everything.
Full disclosure, David calls me last night. He's like, hey, I need to... He had to test... He was trying to test something. He had a new setup at home. He was trying to fix his camera, make sure everything worked. So he goes, can you hop on Zoom with me? And so last night I asked him, I said, what do you think of this whole Jazz Chisholm thing? And for people who haven't seen it, here it is. Jazz Chisholm on Monday night with a blow pop, double bubble, as it turns out, a lollipop while he's out in the field playing second base, which apparently we have come to find out isn't the first time he's done this during a game. Apparently he did it against the Red Sox while he was hitting at one point early in the season, I guess when it was cold out. So Yankees lose that game on Monday night. Aaron Boone finds out after the game that Jazz had the lollipop in his mouth. He gets asked about it. He's pissed off. Makes it clear that he's pissed off. Says he's going to have a word about it with Jazz. Apparently he did. I think, look, here's my take on it. I could have done the big story on this today. Unfortunately, Ariel Helwani got the wrath from me today. So I didn't spend time on this. But David, Aaron Boone's the guy who has his team's back, no matter what stupid thing they do. And actually, when it comes to things that matter on the field, he's the hands-off guy that doesn't go after his players. This is the line in the sand for Aaron freaking Boone? A lollipop in the mouth of Jazz Chisholm? Really?
I don't think it's the line in the sand. I think it deserves a conversation. I don't think this is a backroom yelling, we're going to kick Jazz off the team and do all this stuff. But it's still something you need to have a conversation about. And where this is, yes, we can talk about everything we want. It's a kid's game. It's this, it's that. Okay, watch the Little League World Series. Are we going to see any of these kids doing that on the field? No. And they're the kids. They're the ones we're talking about. I don't even think it's that big of a deal. This isn't Rafi Devers, right? This is a lot different conversation here. But at the same time, it's just showing if you're lazy about something, if you're okay with something versus something else. This is, again, would we ever see Derek Jeter do this on the field? Would we ever see anybody on his team do this on the field? And now it's a constant making excuses for a player who's going out and taking his work a little bit lax and a little bit lazy and just a little bit. He's a very good player. He's talented. He can go out. I love that he has some fun with it. But going out and like messing around with a lollipop during a game, just shows a little bit of just that lack of focus in that certain moment. And when he makes an error, it's going to blow up bigger. I guarantee you the New York media blew this up, made this like the worst thing to ever happen. It's not the worst thing to ever happen. But
that's Aaron Boone's fault. Wait a minute. That's Aaron Boone's fault. That's Aaron Boone's fault. It doesn't get made into a big deal.
Well, I know the real problem is some nutritionist for the New York Yankees told Aaron Boone, like, we need to have lollipops in the dugout because during the game, their blood sugar could get a little. I guarantee you this conversation happened. I can promise you this conversation happened. They said the blood sugar of the players could be a little bit low. It's really good to have lollipops out there, and they can just in the dugout, which is cool, which is no big deal. I used to do it in the bullpen. I used to have it just because I was lazy or just because it was fun to have a lollipop while I'm hanging out. It's the idea. You bring it out on the field, and then he goes out and hits a 2-run home run. Cool. I think it was a game-leading home run at the time. It ended up being the game winner. And then they're playing lollipop in the locker room. It's showing me again, a player is so focused on the other problems, the other things, than just playing on the field. Cool. He hits a 2-run home run. You did your job. Congratulations. Now you're playing lollipop to show all the media what? That you're listening to the media, that you're allowing that to be, instead of just telling your coach, yeah, you know what, coach, my bad. I didn't mean, dude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It was a moment I had in the dugout, and I just brought it on the field. I didn't think about it.
He might have said that for all you know.
He might have, but then they played lollipop and made a big deal out of it. That's that is the escalation of what you're focused on. Again, we talked about it last night, but this is a military thing. This is why in the military they take all those little things.
It's not the military. It's baseball.
No. Let me show you this. This is a different point. The thing about the military is they take all those little things, doing your bunk, doing your clothes, everything's so perfect, has to be perfect. So it shows zero lack of laziness, that you're locked in on everything because the little things matter when the big things are happening.
David Aardsma is hanging out with us. We're going to get into the Rafi Devers stuff on the other side because that's the latest. Because Rafi Devers just can't make it work anywhere. And apparently the San Francisco Giants is the latest example of that. If you haven't heard the story, we'll get to it as we continue. Sports Wrap Inside Baseball. Welcome back. Sports Wrap goes inside baseball every Wednesday on the show with David Aardsma, former big league reliever and closer. And trust me, the Jazzism conversation was actually about 11 or 12 minutes long. If you want to see the entire thing, go onto the YouTube channel. You can see how I really feel about it.
My bad.
And how David feels about it as well. No, it's fine. That's why we have YouTube. It's the overspill. Whoosh, goes over there. And then, by the way, with all of that being said, the Yankees keep winning games without Aaron Judge. They're more than holding their own without Aaron Judge. They're getting it from everywhere.
One time in history.
Yeah, it really is though. But you said that you thought they would. You said you thought they would be fine.
I think it's a better team than we've seen out of them. Maybe more complete, and they're not just one dimensional.
Yep. No, I agree with that. Yankees right now, after that win, 47-31, best record, obviously, in the American League. Interestingly, they would not be in first place in the National League in any division right now. Every single division leader in the National League right now has a better record than the Yankees.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of interesting. So, Rafi Devers, for people who didn't see it, the former Red Sox, now San Francisco Giant, is had a little tiff, had a little fit out on the field because they wanted to pinch run for him in the ninth inning. I think it was against the Rangers. I don't remember. They were playing against somebody the other night. And the ninth inning, they go to pinch run for Devers, and he literally stands on the base and is like, I am not coming off this base. You are not pinch running for me. He was even shooing away the runner. He did not want to be pinch run for. It was like Bill Dorn in Major League Two.
Roger Dorn, come on.
Roger Dorn, sorry. I said Bill Dorn. Roger Dorn, sorry. He did not want to be pinch run for. Okay. Now he's saying he wasn't showing up anybody. He went to the dugout. He kind of sulked. He said he wasn't trying to show up anybody. Says it was miscommunication because he had, earlier in the day said he had a hamstring, I guess, that had tightened up or something like that. David, is this just Devers already wearing out his welcome in San Francisco, or do you buy the story?
I'll give him this. At least he has a decently solid excuse if he could want to use it. Hey, because he said I had a little hammy issue. I thought they were taking me out because they thought the hammy issue and yada yada yada. Dude, come on. It's a decent solid if you want to be BS. Try to BS people. You're slow and you have a super fast guy that's going to come and pinch run. Classic baseball, as old as baseball is, when you can take a replacement player and put him in a bench player. Whenever we started having bench players, this is like the story back in the day. You get pinch run. I remember, guaranteed Babe Ruth got pinch run for important games. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you get somebody that's really fast, it's a one-run ball game. You did your job. You walked. You got on base. Just high five him. Get off the field. Your job is done. Congratulations. Then he makes the big deal is the shooing the guy off. If you have a problem with it, be a professional. Get off the field. Walk in that dugout. Pull your manager aside and say, "Hey, what's up? What's the deal?" When the game's over, walk right in the office, throw a chair and say, "Why are you taking me out of this game?" Be a professional. These are the type of things you don't have to show everybody up. And it just looks dumb because you're slow. If you want to run for yourself, fine. The bigger problem is Tony Vitello didn't steal the runner and then ended up having a double play and got out of the game, and the game ended up being basically over at that point. And the bigger story, I know, I'm sure you covered it, is Buster Posey then sitting in the dugout the next day wanting to talk about it, and everyone asking him about the pride stuff, and him not talking about pride stuff and saying, just focus on baseball. There's so many problems right now in San Francisco. First-time GM, basically young GM, first-time manager on an incredibly veteran team that needed veteran leadership somewhere, a veteran manager, somebody. There are so many problems. Rafael Devers is one of those problems. This whole team needs to get blown up. And I think Buster Posey has actually done a great job on trying to create a winner. If you look at every move he has made, he has put this team in a position to win. The players have gone out there and been so unsuccessful and so blah, and whether that's coaching or just the team chemistry, it needs to get blown up from within.
Has Vitello been set up to fail in retrospect? I'm not saying before the season, because we all wanted to just kind of see how it played out. But in retrospect now, looking back at a team that's likely to miss the playoffs again, a team that's likely to be near the bottom of the league, with a high payroll again, was he set up to fail based on the composition of this team and what was being asked of him as a first-time professional baseball manager?
I think anytime you're going against the Dodgers and the Padres, you're set up to fail. Honestly, Tony Vitello needed a Marlin situation, a national situation, where you get
That's 3
years. You get 4 years of failing to then, some people, then you hear the voices, hey, how is he? How is he in the clubhouse? How is he as a leader? I don't even need to see wins on the scoreboard. I need to see wins in that clubhouse. He got put together a win now team with a GM that needs a win now team, and then you get I don't know yet manager. That's the problem. And 100% agree with you. He got set up to fail only because of the situation. Anytime you go into a win now situation as a first time anything, it's kind of set up to fail because you don't know how to answer questions. You don't know how to, when your back's against the wall. You've never been in the big leagues to understand those situations. You have to experience it, go in and get punched in the face a few times.
I want to continue the conversation with David Aardsma, but we're out of time. So I'm going to do that over on our YouTube channel. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. David, appreciate you on the TV side, my friend. Always appreciate it. Thank you.
It's great as always.
Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the show, more reaction to the NBA draft. second round on Wednesday night. Travelers Championship gets underway on Thursday. One of my favorite events on the PGA Tour calendar because I've played the course a million times. Have close relationships to a lot of people there in Connecticut. We are on the verge of hearing the draw for the women's side at Wimbledon. Everybody wondering who Serena Williams is going to get. We'll find out about that on Friday. So we'll have information on that on Friday's show. If you missed it, we had a great conversation with Patrick McEnroe about the comeback of Serena Williams. Check that out over on the YouTube channel, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. You can find all our previous shows there. Speaking of which, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, the audio version of this show, available wherever you get your podcasts, Monday through Friday, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show. It's fantastic, I promise. Works just as well in audio form. 45 minutes, limited commercial interruptions. Go and subscribe to that today. I mentioned the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. It is the place to find all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show. 45 minutes, commercial-free, stripped down for you. Right there, every day, Monday through Friday. You can watch the show there. We also have Sports Wrap Originals, extended conversations, Sports Wrap Shorts, 1 to 3 minute long vertical videos made for people on the go. Sports Wrap Shorts available on the YouTube channel. Also available on our TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on our Instagram, the same place, Sports Wrap Jason Page, if you want to watch some of those Sports Wrap Shorts. When news breaks, we jump in and we get into it on all of our social media platforms. All right, without any further delay on this Wednesday edition of the show, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends. Tiger Woods on your screen. Anytime we get a chance to talk about Tiger, I was talking about the Travelers Championship. And listen, nothing happens by accident with Tiger Woods. You should know that by now. You follow sports, cover it like I do. When Tiger wants to be seen, he makes sure to be seen. Ryan Rolap's the new CEO, the man in charge over at the PGA Tour. Well, on Tuesday, they rolled out this announcement about the new PGA Tour starting next year, I believe it is, where they're going to have a Challenger Tour and a Championship Tour, 24 events on the Champions level. Or they're doing this weird thing. Let's just call it what it is. The Championship Series and the Challenger Series. So they're going to have two tiers now to the PGA Tour. A lot of players are not happy about this. Rory McIlroy, in fact, was not happy about this. Tiger's part of the board that makes up the PGA Tour, so he has some clout and has some say. So he came to support Ryan Rolap and support this rollout of this new tour. How that all plays out remains to be seen. What's important to me is that Tiger was there. Remember, he went into rehab, the whole rollover of his SUV in Florida, right before the Masters when we all thought he was going to be playing in the Masters. So he went to rehab, he went away for a while, he went overseas, he's still facing charges. I think he has to go back to court in August. But Tiger Woods making an appearance is always telling you something. You can read between the lines. No matter what he says, no matter what conversations you may hear about, when you see Tiger, you know that something's going on. So, be that as it may, I don't know if he's going to potentially play. There's one major left this year. That's the Open Championship. Is there a chance he perhaps tries to tee it up for that? We'll have to wait and see. But Tiger Woods, seen yesterday, there he is at the Travelers Championship, speaking to the media and supporting the new rollout of this new system that the PGA Tour is putting in place. More on that at a date to be determined. Odds and ends, Austin Reeves is getting himself a sweet deal from the Lakers. I think it's 4 years, $185 million for Austin Reeves. And this was sort of, this wasn't a guy when he came into the league. We're talking about the NBA draft in the second round and all this stuff. This wasn't a guy that a lot of people had pegged. Being in the league for several years and getting a 4-year, $185 million contract. But he has blossomed. And if he didn't get it from the Lakers, he was going to get it somewhere else. And they did not want to run the risk of breaking up the combination of him and Luka, who have gelled well together. Now, neither of them play a lick of defense, and that's a bit of a problem for the Lakers. But, as the Knicks just showed as well, Karl Anthony Towns has never really been known for his defense. Jalen Brunson certainly isn't known for his defense. They just won a championship. So you don't have to necessarily have that lockdown defensive guy who also scores 30 a game for you. Good move by the Lakers. I think it's a no-brainer. Still remains to be seen what's going to happen with LeBron in this offseason, something we will obviously continue to keep tabs on. But 4 years, $185 million, according to Shams Charania over at ESPN. And that's going to do it for us on this Wednesday edition of the show. Thank you to all of you who've sent me some nice notes on some of the things we've been posting and talking about on social media. There's a lot of hatred on social media. A lot of angry, mean, hateful people. To those of you that have sent nice notes, both privately and publicly, I appreciate that. Thank you to our guest, David Aardsma. Thank you to Kurt Helin. Thanks to all of you at home for watching. I'm Jason Page. We'll catch you back here on Thursday for an all-new edition of Sports Wrap. Till then, bye-bye.